Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey everybody, the old captain here. I got an email. It is 7 pages long. And don't worry, I charged them, but I'm not going to read through all of this for the benefit of you guys. Plus, I want to be succinct. I don't want to waste this guy's time. But let me summarize it here. This young man is 31 years old. He lives in Germany. He tried to start working when he dumped down into the labor market. He was right at the dot-com bust or bubble in the late 90s. Since then, he's kind of flailed about. He's lived with his folks since. And his dad runs a security company, and because he's been living at home and working too as a security guard, he's been saving up a lot of money. So much he's got $100,000 in liquid assets, a lot of it precious metals. And he wants to know what to do with that money in terms of investment and what to do in terms of career and all that. So he's got some options. He can get a certification in security. He already has one, but he get like an advanced certification, which would give more reputation to him. Certainly would help if he wanted to continue on being a security guard, but he's more looking in terms that his dad wants to retire in about 5 years and that he would take over the company. So here are the options, and you also talked about getting a degree in accounting, so let me evaluate each thing. I would strongly recommend going into accounting because you were worried about, well, maybe I should learn the business aspect. And you listed about 80 different things you want to do. I would focus probably on the accounting. I wouldn't even bother with the security certification. You already work there. You're going to take over a security company. So your dad's business, his book of business, should already have an established reputation, hopefully a good one, that you don't have to go out there and get more clients. Now, if you did, you wanted to go through a growth phase, you want to increase sales, then maybe you want to go and get that advanced certification or professional certification in security. But I would not worry about that. I would instead focus your time on accounting. Also, as I've pointed out many times before, you're working as a security guard, you have all the time in the world, and you have obviously plenty of money that you could afford that certification in accounting. That would do two things. One, it would allow you to have a job or a plan B in case you didn't want to take over your dad's business or that went under or whatever. Two, it will allow you to help run your dad's business. I don't believe in this. Oh, I gotta learn security. You already know security. You work as a security guard. Your dad could also train you in some of the business managerial aspects of it. But the real number one thing is accounting. You need to know accounting. And I think that is where your focus and effort would be because of the dual nature. It's both employable outside security and it'll help you run your dad's business. Now, these certifications are not going to take up that much money. As you pointed out, Germany, you guys got really cheap education. So it's like, where do you invest this a ton of money? Well, I don't know. What I would do here, and this is me, I can't give you financial advice. I just could tell you if it was me. I personally don't see any investments out there that pay an adequate enough dividend for me. There is no high enough rate of return. That doesn't mean you couldn't invest it in a mutual fund and that mutual fund doubles in price overnight. That can always happen, but it can also go down by 50, 60, 70%. So when I look at investments for me, I want to know what rate of return am I going to get. And right now, your average dividend yield in at least the U.S. stock market is about 2%. PEs are what? 22, 23, depending on what measure you want to use. And interest rates are abysmal. They're nothing. So what I would do is I would talk to your dad. Like, is your dad just going to give you the company, or is he going to expect you to buy it from him? He has every right to expect you to buy it from him because he worked it up. He busted his ass off. So he might want to sell it to you, or he might sell it to somebody else. You may not even be in the running to buy or take this over. And the other thing is, I would look at, and Neville, you will probably want to move out. Yeah, there's no rush. It doesn't sound like you got a ton of girls that you're worried about. You didn't mention anything about like how it's hurting your social life. So I would stay at home until your dad maybe retires, and then you should have plenty of money to buy yourself at least a condo. And the reason I like about the condo or a small house, and I know your concerns about property valuations included, you're not going to worry about, well, you are going to worry, you don't want to overpay, obviously, but your rate of return is what you're going to save in terms of rent. Now, you're not paying rent right now. Your parents might be getting pissed off that you're going to be damn well near 40 by the time you think about moving out. Plus, a real man inevitably does move out. I know in Europe you stay at home till you're 50. I don't know. Anyway, in the United States, it's kind of like, hey, get out. Although that's changing now, too. We want to be like Europe. But I would look for a cheap condo, someplace safe, someplace clean, nothing big, nothing fancy. You're a single guy. You don't need a lot. And then that's going to save you however many euro per year or per month. So, you know, let's say rent is €1,000 per month. That's 12,000 euro a year. And if the condo costs 100,000, well, that's a 12% rate of return. That's a very handsome rate of return. Now, of course, there are repairs and homeowners association, all that. So you want to do a full financial analysis. But in a general philosophy, and we get more and more of these guys who you're either living at home or you're minimalist. Also, you got this wad of cash. You're like, what the fuck? Where do I go? Well, making sure you never have to pay rental expense. You know, making sure your living quarters are taken care of until the rest of your life. That's kind of a solid expense to get rid of. And lodging is usually your number one expense. So if you could pay cash and not have a mortgage and just maybe, you know, maintenance, taxes, and homeowners association fees, you're going to save a lot of money down the road. Now, again, it depends on the property. I can't tell you whether it's going to be worth it or not. You got to do an analysis yourself. But that's where finding a good property at a good price that's in good condition and isn't in a high tax area and all these other variables. But if you want, read Bachelor Pad Economics. I have an entire section on lodging and purchasing housing. And then finally, ain't none of this gonna matter if you can't focus. You wrote a 7 fucking page thing and it's all over the place. And you mentioned that you have ADHD and you were on the drugs. Okay. That I don't care if you have ADHD. I don't care if it's real. I don't care if you're on the drugs for it. I don't care if you think it. You are not going to be able to run a business if you barf out and vomit up 7 pages, of which 6 were completely unnecessary. You are going to have to learn to focus and write and communicate better. And I'm not a big fan for taking communication classes, but you have got to focus, right? And I don't know if ADHD prevents you from doing that. Tough shit. It's not going to work unless you can focus. You need to be brief and succinct. You have to get to the point. That's why I charged you so much, because it wasn't that the questions were hard or difficult, or that even it took that long to read, to do a response. For me to read through, it took me damn well near half an hour. Right? You have got to be more efficient. Way more efficient, because you could get a great accounting, sir. You could get your master's in security guard work. Your dad could hand it over to you. And if you're taking this long to talk to a client, the client is going to dump you and go somewhere else. So have somebody, I don't know if you got a friend who's a writer. I don't know if you have friends that you talk to. Say, hey, do I blather on? Do I just not shut up? Because, man, if you don't shut up and you don't get to the point, people are going to dump you. Social capacity, working capacity, romantic capacity. They are not going to have time for you because you are taking up too much of their time. And they don't have all the time in the world. So I would talk to, I don't know, not speech therapist, you know, a good friend. Say, hey, Bob, do I talk a lot? Do my emails ramble on? If they say, yeah, then you're like, I got to focus on that. And ultimately, you can talk to all the therapists in the world and get all the advice you want. In the end, it's up to you. You got to stop blathering on so much. Right? So that right there is you know, that's going to help you out in every capacity. But right now, focus, man. Fucking focus. Okay? Think. Outline your fucking emails if you have to. Ask, is this getting to the point quickly? And then send out the email. So, anyway, yeah, best of luck. You're in a great position. I don't think you're going to... I mean, you got more money than the average 31-year-old in the U.S. or in Germany. You just don't want to waste that nest egg you've saved up. And you definitely do not want to take your dad's business over and then run it into the ground because you don't know how to get to the fucking point. So best of luck. Toodles.